This is episode 10 of the Super Parent Podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Nick Fanning. Joined with me today, special guest, my wife, Alisha Fanning.
Parenting in the 21st century is ever evolving, and while you balance work, kids, and your sanity, it's easy to feel discouraged. Welcome to the Super Parent Syndrome with your host, Dr. Nick Fanning.
Hello, my beautiful, brave parents out there. This is Dr. Nick Fanning once again. And I have to say, if you have kids, if you have a job, if you have obligations, I know that you have fears, you have doubts. And I have to tell you, you are not alone. And so, joining me today is my wife, very begrudgingly so. In fact, I actually had to win a bet and force her to be on this podcast with me in order to have her go outside of her comfort zone and share. And she's sitting across from me, kind of giving me the head tilt, I'm going to kill you look. But the reason why she has a problem with getting on here is that she sees that herself as a work in progress. And we sometimes call it the imposter complex, where we don't feel like we're good enough and that we don't have everything together. Well, ironically enough, that is actually the source of our episode. We're going to be talking about mom guilt today. And why would we talk about mom guilt, Miss Alisha?
We're going to talk about mom guilt because every mom has guilt, I would assume, because I do,
right,
with pretty much everything I do all day long. It
Okay.
involves my kid or my husband or my house or anything in or around that. There's usually guilt tied to it.
Okay. And what do you mean by that? Where do you think this guilt comes from? Do you think it comes from yourself, your mom, pressures on that, or society? I mean, where do you think this comes from?
Yes.
Yeah,
all of those.
All of it. Wow.
Self-expectation, society's expectation. Some of mine comes from the way my mom did things. She was a great mom, so I feel like I have to set myself to that high standard or maybe even achieve better. But yeah, I think it comes from all of those, unfortunately.
Okay. And where do you think it kind of manifests? I mean, is this one of those things where you're able to just kind of secretly under the radar and never have to really deal with it? Or do you think it like rears its ugly head elsewhere?
You mean if we don't deal with it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it manifests itself in ugly ways.
Okay.
For me personally, it beats me down emotionally, physically, mentally if I don't take care of it or get it under control. Definitely, all of those things.
Okay. And I gotta say, everybody out there, my wife is being real. She's being authentic on there. And I'll say, we don't have our stuff together. This is a work in progress. And I know that there's this thing called the imposter complex where we think that we're not good enough, and we have to really ask ourselves, is that really the truth? And I know that works in progress, but that's why we're doing this podcast actually, is because, hey, we're on our own journey and we're trying to bring some people along the way because everybody wants to do an amazing job. It's just how are you going to do it? And Alisha, would you say that that's maybe where some of the guilt comes from, is that everybody has a different way of doing things too?
Oh yeah, everybody has a different, but society has a way of doing things. And every mom has a different idea of what that looks like. So we try to hold ourselves accountable to everybody else instead of doing what's best for our family. And I think that's where we get into trouble.
Okay. So where do you see that, where we get these different expectations as well, especially between parents or moms particularly?
See it be more
like, play dates.
Yeah, play dates. A play date, that's my personal hell. To be quite honest, unless I'm with like-minded people who kind of share my same core values, it's extremely difficult for me to be there because I find myself having to or wanting to impress the other moms to seem like I have my stuff together when nobody there usually does. But so it's like this magic show,
right?
Really, I feel like, where we have to just talk about all the great things we're doing. And I want to talk about why I was crying in the bathroom when my 2-year-old was sitting on my lap while I was peeing. But that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Because that would mean that we weren't perfect.
Mm-hmm. So there's that expectation too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel guilty when I'm crying out
right.
the toilet because I shouldn't. Why am I not strong enough? Why can I not? Those are the things I think.
Okay. And would you say that even like some of the moms, you have to wonder if they're even kind of judging you too?
Yeah.
You get a little guilty with that?
Yeah. That's one of my biggest setbacks is my family does things a little different than the norm. And so I feel guilty even talking about that sometimes because if they don't do it, I'm afraid they're going to think I'm weird or that my kids are weird. Or my family and friends joke that I'm the crunchy mom, and that used to be cool to begin with, and now it kind of hurts my feelings because I think that they think of it as a bad thing.
Right.
But it's what's best for me, for my husband, for my kids, so why should I be ashamed of it? Makes no sense.
Right.
But we do it to each other, all of us. It's unfortunate, really.
Oh, it totally is. And so I would say that guilt is coming from a lot of different ways, even from other parents.
Mm-hmm.
And, you had a view about that. What should it really be like, more like?
I think a big hippie love circle, really. I just think that we need to come from a place of acceptance and love and understanding, because no family does everything exactly the same, whether we believe that or not.
Right.
Everybody has a set of rules or expectations that work great for their kids that wouldn't work for ours, or vice versa. And I think that if we could just all understand that and be willing to accept that not everybody is perfect. I do things way better than other moms, and other moms totally nail stuff that I failed completely at. So I think if we just came, they say it takes a village to raise children, and I believe that, but I think we need to be a cohesive village and just understand and love each other and know that not everybody's going to have this perfect expectation of the mom who's perfectly dressed with her hair and makeup done, and the baby who has no spit up anywhere and eating fantastic food in their perfect stroller. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Because it seems like you got either the country mom or the ultra popular mom.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's just kind of a big pissing contest, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
The guys always, it's always joked on that the men do this, but I think the women are just as guilty.
If not worse sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Well, what are some ways that we can move away from this? What are some things that you would, what should we do?
One thing that I do for myself is, and I'm learning this currently, I'm not good at this yet, is taking time for myself and not feeling guilty for doing that.
Okay.
As you know, the husband and the wife are the head of the household. The husband is the head of the household, but I'm with the kids most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't take care of myself, everything else kind of declines in the process, because my kids then suffer, the house, everything just kind of falls to the wayside. If I take care of myself, if I'm in a good mindset, in a good mood even, if I can have my cup of coffee with no one else around, it sets the stage for me to have a better day. And then seemingly everybody else has a better day. It's the most amazing concept. But it took a long time for me to not have the guilt of taking a bath and knowing that there was laundry in the dryer that needed to be folded, and to let that go. So I think we talked earlier that self-care is not selfish.
Yeah.
So that you really need to do that, because we take care of everybody else. Why do we not take care of ourselves?
Yeah, we just bottle it up, and then all of a sudden it just rears its ugly head in different ways.
Well, yeah, and that's usually a huge explosion of disaster, which means you have to take the day off of work and
the mental health days.
Stay
right?
home and let me cry, pretty much. So that's just not healthy for anybody. So
what are certain ways that you like to, or that you would recommend, that are nice, easy, like little breaks, to fit in those during the normal days? What brings you back to center?
During the day, that's hard because no day is ever the same. Something that really helps me is visualizations, because you can do that even as you're cleaning the house, or just having something that really calms you, brings you back to center. Those are important. If you can get meditation in, I think that's huge. I'm a big proponent of that. I even make my kids meditate with me now, and they like it. The 2-year-old, she's getting just something that we find stuff that we can do. For me, it's going outside.
Yeah,
that's huge for me and the kids. But just really finding whatever it is for you. Maybe that's a cup of tea in the afternoon,
right? Or
maybe you guys sit down and read a book.
I love it.
It has to be whatever works for you.
Well, folks, I got to tell you, the big thing here is that we talk about on the show that, and the big key phrase is that you are not alone. And it seems like, despite our best efforts, sometimes because we're so busy comparing ourselves, we do feel alone. And I'm letting you know that right now you're not, that nobody has their stuff together. Nobody's as perfect as they say they are on Facebook. Yeah, certainly. And so the big thing is you guys need to band together and find that social group that you're comfortable with, that has the same core values, that has the same ideas, and really you can just agree to just cut through a lot of the BS that you guys are and pressures that you're putting on each other. And hopefully you guys can learn a lot more from it. But I think honestly, that's not the big takeaway for today. I would say the biggest lesson we just talked about is self-care is not selfish, and to be able to do so without guilt. More so, the big point being here is that you should actually probably have it scheduled in.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it won't happen. And even there are days where it is scheduled in and it still doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a matter of finding what works for you, but it might only be 2 minutes.
Right.
But that 2 minutes is important to take.
Absolutely. So, what do you think? Any challenges that we would give our parents out there?
Oh, yeah. Take some time for yourself.
Okay. And
don't feel guilty doing it. One of our phrases around our house is stop shoulding on yourself.
What do you mean by that?
My husband, lovely husband, hears me say all the time, I should be doing this. I should have done that. This should have happened this way. And you gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's so ugly and unhealthy. And so when I say those things or when I hear myself think those things, my husband Nick, usually catches me or tries to. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta stop the cycle.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. So you get in a poor mindset, you start beating yourself up.
Yeah.
And then therefore the guilt train keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
And before long, then your internal talk is probably just in the dumps.
Yeah. Because it usually just starts like that. I should have done the laundry. Oh, I should do the dishes too. And then before you know it, the kids are in bed and nothing's done and you just feel kind of worthless, really, at the end of the day, when none of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, everyone's still going to wake up.
Okay. So I say, folks, that your action step for this week is take a look at your schedule. Your schedule does not lie on your priorities, and schedule some time for you, because if you don't have a lot of love and a lot of energy, then you're not going to be able to give a lot of love and a lot of energy. So that's a big thing there. And I would actually suggest that you try to find, I would say start small if you have to, 15 minutes of no negotiations, no surrender type time, and try to work up to at least 30 minutes. And you can break that apart however you want, but 30 minutes per day to just really sharpen the saw and figure out for your own life. So, well, my lovely wife, I think you did an amazing job. I know you were so nervous and not wanting to do this. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And this is Dr. Nick Fanning and his lovely wife, Alisha, signing off.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Super Parent Syndrome. Please be sure to visit peptalksforparents.com for more content and our free newsletter. And remember, you are not alone.